Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2018 Chevy Traverse, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check this out and make sure that this is the right hitch for you. So right off the bat, one of the cool things about this hitch is the fact that it's going to be completely hidden whenever you're not using it. And that's because it's going to sit behind the bumper. But whenever you are ready to use it, there's this removable panel, and this will just pop down. And then you'll have access to the hitch. So whenever you're not using it, your car will look completely stock, like it wasn't modified at all. And then obviously when you're ready to go, you have more than enough space there. Which kind of leads me to my next point. Before you end up getting a hitch, probably not a bad idea to pop this off if you haven't already. And just make sure there's not one there from the factory, because you might get lucky. You might already have one there. But if not, a hitch like this will definitely open up your opportunities on what you can do with your SUV. Since this is a class 3 hitch, it is going to have that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. Really common size, and regardless of what you're trying to do, whether it be pulling a trailer around or using hitch mounted accessories, this is going to allow you to do that. It is going to use the standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, pin and clip does not come included. If you need one, not a big deal. You can always grab it here at eTrailer. And we are going to have loop style safety chain openings that will give us more than enough space to allow us to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have some pretty high numbers. Maximum gross tongue weight rating is going to be 750 pounds. That's going to be the amount of weight that is pushing down on the hitch. So you'll be able to use just about any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. As far as the hitch's maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 5,000 pounds. And that's going to be the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. So weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. This can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. And what happens whenever you use that is it's going to keep your Traverse and your trailer level whenever you're towing it down the road. So if you got maybe a larger camper or something like that, might be worth looking into. With that said though, even if you use that weight distribution system, the weight capacities are going to remain the same at 750 and 5,000. With all that in mind, I do always like to recommend, it's never a bad idea just to grab your Chevy's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your SUV can pull that much weight safely. Now let's go ahead and just grab a couple of measurements. That way we can try to figure out what hitch mounted accessories will work best. You go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening. It's going to be about 20.5 inches. So if you plan on pulling a trailer around, chances are really good you can get a ball mount that has a slight drop in it, maybe 2, 3, 4 inches, something like that, depending on your trailer. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, it's going to be about 3 inches, and you can use that measurement to help figure out that if any folding type accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your Traverse. Just to compare this hitch to some of the other ones, they're all going to be very, very similar in terms of how they're going to look and the capabilities. You know, if I had to pick one, I'd probably end up going with the eTrailer one. It's probably my favorite, and I'm not just saying that because it's the eTrailer brand. I actually do think it has a slight advantage in terms of the finish. It has a matte black carbide finish, and just seems like they're a little bit tougher. They just hold up a little bit longer than some of the other hitches, but you know, you really can't go wrong with any of them, if I'm telling the truth. So other than that though, you know, as far as getting the hitch installed, really not too bad. You are going to have to take off the rear fascia. Don't really let that intimidate you though. Everything's pretty easy to get to and really isn't a huge deal. It all came apart pretty easy and went back together just as easily. To begin our installation, we're going to be here at the back of our Traverse, and we are going to need to remove our bumper cover. That way we can actually have the space we need to get the hitch on. So not really a big deal. If you open up the hatch, we can start by undoing some caps here to get to some fasteners. If you look underneath the taillight, we'll have these 2 plastic covers, so you can take a pick or screwdriver or whatever you got. Just pry those open. That'll expose some 7mm fasteners behind there, so we'll pull them out. And then if we just keep moving down here in this corner, we're gonna have another fastener, and we're gonna pull that out using a T15 Torx bit. I wanna mention, from this point on, anything we do to one side of our vehicle, we're also gonna do to the other side because it'll be set up the same way. Now we can move underneath of our vehicle, and along the bottom edge, we're gonna have two I believe these are T15 or T20 T15 Torx bit fasteners we're going to remove. So I have that one there. And you don't need to worry about the ones more in the middle, just the ones on the outside here. While we're under here, if your vehicle has mud flaps like ours does, we're going to pull this fastener out as well. So it's a T15 Torx bit. And I noticed with these, a lot of times it'll just spin. So you can actually hold the piece behind it, which I'll show you in a second. You kind of just hold this piece from spinning. That way the bolt will come out. Now if we move inside of our wheel well along the edge, we're gonna have a few fasteners you need to take off. So these are a T15. I don't know if every car will be set up like this with the mud flap, but same idea regardless. That mud flap will come off, and then we'll take this off too. So another couple of Torx bit fasteners. That part out of the way. Then we'll just continue up our wheel well here. So looks like a couple more. I taped up around here where we're working, that way we don't scratch up our paint. This trim piece, so you can pop this off. So I just have a trim tool. You kind of sneak in behind it, kind of lift up a little bit and pull out, and then that fastener right there, that's the one we need to remove. So this is a 7mm head. I couldn't find my box wrench, so I just grabbed this adjustable wrench. We'll get this broken loose and get this removed. Now with the next set of hands, we can get our fascia removed. So you want to start at the corner, and this is essentially just going to kind of pop off. These clips are going to release, and once you get around the tail light here, what I like to do is start to kind of grab the bottom and wiggle it, and eventually it should pop off. So you may or may not have a connector, which it looks like we do, over on the driver's side. And what you're going to do, there's a red tab. You pull that red tab out, and then you push down on the center there, and that'll release the connector. So once we have this free, we can go ahead and set our fascia off to the side. What we can do now is support our exhaust a little bit, and I say it because we're going to have to take some bolts out that is helping to support the exhaust. Now what we can do now is take a strap and support our exhaust, and that's because some bolts that we're going to remove in a moment are helping to support it. So we don't want to let it just hang down freely. So what I like to do is just take a strap, run it from side to side. That way we can kind of control how fast and how far we let the exhaust come down. At this point we can remove our bumper beam here. So this can be held in place by 2 nuts and 2 bolts. They're all going to have a 15mm head. We'll pull these off. And here's the ones I was talking about that were helping to hold our exhaust up. That's why we put the strap on it earlier. So with all those removed, I already took the ones off of the other side. Should be able to grab our bumper beam, slide it off, and set it to the side. Now we can take our hitch and get it in place. So this is gonna slide in the frame rails and sit up against our vehicle here. And what I'm gonna do is just take the factory nuts and just get these started hand tight. That way the hitch will support itself while we work on the rest of the hardware. Get the hardware going on the bottom of our frame. So you're gonna take one of the pull wires and starting with this hole here, put the coiled end of it through, and then you're gonna push it towards the back of our vehicle. And what we're trying to do is get it to come out of that opening there. Got pretty lucky there, it just came right out. A lot of times you have to kind of reach in there with your finger and help guide it out. But once you have it through, you can take the spacer block, put that over the end of it, and the carriage bolt will thread on. You can feed the hardware into the frame. Pull on the other end there until it drops down. And I'm going to do the same thing for this opening here. That one's a little bit easier, it's a lot closer. But same hardware combo. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Feed it on in. So we get it to drop down. So sometimes when you're getting this through, you might have to kind of maneuver the hitch around a little bit. But once the hardware drops down through, we can remove the pull wires. And then we can take our other hardware and get this started. So you're gonna have a conical tooth washer. Make sure the teeth on the washer are gonna face up towards the bottom of our frame rail. And to help prevent that bolt from getting pushed back up, you can apply some side pressure there to it. Keep it steady. And we're just gonna take a hex nut and get it started hand tight. We use that same method and hardware combination for this attachment point as well. Come back with a 19mm or a 3/4 inch socket and snug it down. Let's come back with a torque wrench and tighten up the hardware here in the bottom of our frame rail to the amount specified in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can get one here at eTrailer, or a lot of times go to your local auto parts store and they'll have one there available that you can rent. Take our exhaust hanger bracket deal, line that up, and put our new bolts in it. So these are going to come with the hitch, just a bolt, conical tooth washer. And I like to get these started. Once we have them hand tight, we can snug these up with an 11/16 size socket. And of course, we'll snug these up with our 15mm. Now that this hardware is snug, just like the other bolts, we can come back and torque them down. With the hitch all torqued down, now what we can do is come back, loosen up our strap, and get it removed. Something that I do want to mention before we get our fascia back on is if you happen to pick up wiring, trailer wiring as well, now would be a great time to get that installed. And that's because it plugs into a connector right here. And so in our case, our vehicle was getting this wiring installed, so that's what this is. It doesn't come with the hitch. If you do need it though, you can always grab it here at eTrailer. We have several different kits. let's take your fascia and get it reinstalled. Don't forget to plug in any electrical connectors that you may have disconnected. And the way this works is it simply just pops right back into place the opposite way that we removed it. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2018 Chevrolet Traverse.